Hi, I'm Mel's best friend, and this is my third episode of shiny hunting until we get a Switch Pro. I think I could rename this series to Nintendo Switch Pro Test. As I could rename the series too. So, because I feel like it has too long of a name. But, like, that's what I'll name the playlist I'll eventually put these videos into on YouTube. It's not what I'm gonna put in the title of the video. The title of the video is gonna remain the same. Wait, you wanna hear more stuff about that program I'm working on called PSVTP Gamma Edition? So, you see, like I said before, it's gonna be a tool to get Pokemon in real life, and you see, it's gonna be written in C++. Its graphical user interface is going to be made using Qt. And of course, that means... I was originally going to make it Linux only, but I think it might be cross-platform. I changed my mind. I think I might try to make it cross-platform. Yeah. So basically I'll have a Mac version, a Windows version, and a Linux version. I'm not going to have 32-bit support though. Which really only... because I don't even think Qt supports 32-bit anymore. I think they dropped support in Qt6. I don't remember for sure, but I think they dropped support for 32-bit in Qt6. Sorry, I don't use Qt6 that much because so many features were removed due to the fact that they're still being worked on being re-implemented in Qt6. Like, they just now added back Qt Multimedia. They just now added that back. And you have to get the beta version to have it as well. You know, 6.2 beta 1. You have to get that version if you want it, and it's missing some features as well. Because like I said, it was just added back, so obviously it's going to be missing features. And let's see here, what else? Oh yeah, so yeah, not gonna support 32-bit, because why do that? And also Qt6 doesn't support 32-bit. I mean Qt5 does, but not Qt6. I might use Qt6 when I make this, I haven't decided whether I'll use Qt5 or Qt6. But either way, I'm not gonna support 32-bit, even though it would be possible if I use Qt5. But for a Mac version, I'm going to support hopefully both x86 and Apple Silicon. I'm hopefully going to support both of them. You know, the M1 chip and also the Intel chips. That's what it's going to be like for a Mac version. I mean, I currently don't have an M1 Mac, but my dad is going to get one for the whole family because... like I said, I'm still living with my dad because I'm only 18 years old, and yeah. I know you technically can move out at the age of 18, but I chose not to because there's a college really close to where I live that I think would be nice to go to. And that's where I'm going to be going this fall. And I'm sorry if I get one of those my brain's on dial-up moments, because here's the thing. I didn't get much sleep last night because I was so excited for Pokemon Unite. Like, I played it like almost immediately after it came out. It was fun. One criticism I have though is that my waifu isn't a playable character. That's a very minor thing. If you've been on my channel before, you probably know that my waifu is Vaporeon. I mean, it'd be nice to have Eevee and Evolutions be playable in that game, because that would have some randomness, or as I like to say, Senmodnar! Because obviously you're not going to implement the different ways of evolving Eevee. You're obviously not going to do that, so that's Senmodnar to it. You know why I'm calling randomness Senmodnar? It's spelling randomness backwards. I don't know why, but I like to spell random and randomness backwards. Probably because that homebrew app I made called Modnar. I made it a long time ago. Like, its code is pretty messy. So if you see it on GitHub, you'd see its code is pretty messy. And yeah, the homebrew app store did not approve of it, unlike Eevee, which the homebrew app store did approve of. But basically what Modnar does is it improves randomizers. You know, those randomizer mod packs for like Pokemon games and stuff like that. You know, like Pokemon, Hollow Knight, games like that. Well, it improves that by making it so that like you can choose between mods in a folder and randomize which one gets applied. Which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I probably should have made it like, instead of a homebrew app, like a sys module or Tesla overlay, but you know, that was before I knew how to make those. I could probably make those now, but back then, like I said, I wasn't as good at programming as I am now. I've definitely gotten better since then. But it's funny how I called it Modnar, which is just random spelled backwards. And the reason I called it that was because it has mod in it, and it randomly applies a mod, so it makes sense. That's why I called it Modnar, which is random spelled backwards. I like to say Modnar instead of random, and send Modnar instead of randomness. Wait, now, back to what I was saying about PSBT PGM edition, though. Like I said, and if people want it enough, I'm going to also make mobile versions of it. I mean, probably not going to use QT, because, let's be honest, QT on mobile is kind of hard to work with. They probably can use some different front end, like, you know, the official Android UI stuff, like the Java stuff, you know what I mean? I actually think it supports both Java and Kotlin, but you know. So my brain was on dial-up there. As you can see, I had to go into the menu and check something. It shows my brain was on dial-up. It's the potato baby, or as I used to say, referencing this meme I saw saying that your graphics card is a potato. Graphics card baby! I think that's... Wait a minute, does that mean NVIDIA violates the child labor laws? NVIDIA violates the child labor laws? That's funny. NVIDIA violates the child labor laws and has and has babies making graphics cards. NVIDIA violates the child labor laws as kids and babies making graphics cards. That's funny. I mean, it's not true though. If it were true, NVIDIA wouldn't exist anymore. Or they just stopped doing it or something like that. Like, you know, like get cease and desist or something like that. Speaking of cease and desist, I know of 3 companies who do that stuff too much. Disney, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Those are 3 companies that do that too much. I think Nintendo's the most insane with it. That's what I'd say. Nintendo is the most insane with it. I mean, the other one's not as much. I mean, actually Disney's pretty close, but not as much. And Microsoft is probably number 3 in terms of how much they do it from, like, you know, in a top 10 order. Like, when I mean a top 10 order, I don't mean like there's 10 of them that I said, because I didn't say 10. I mean like an order that you have in a top 10 video on YouTube. Yeah. Like, remember Windows 11 being leaked? Also, remember... I also remember hearing about that, like, Child Care Center or whatever that had Disney characters. And the third thing, Team Executor's mod chips. Actually, I'll say so many for Nintendo because Nintendo's the most insane with it. Team Executor's mod chips. Let's see, what else? Well, Team Executor's mod chips one really annoyed me specifically. And I was like, fuck DMCA when I heard that. And you know what? That's why I'm working on my own mod chips. I think you might have heard me talk about it a bit on my channel, but yeah. I'm gonna do something to try to avoid getting sued with PSBTP gamers. I'll explain when I'm done saying these things. Let's see, where's the other things Nintendo has done with this stuff? The Pixelmon mod. I know if I were monetized, this would get me demonetized. But Oversex Evolutions. But I'm not monetized. Actually, that might even get me age restricted. Which actually could happen right now because, you know... The only requirement for that is that you're 18 or older, which I am. I don't want this video to get age restricted, but it might, because I said that. Let's see here, what else? Where's some other things like that? The gravestone that had Mario on it. Oh, and another one really similar to that. Edicons. Have you heard of Edicons? Yes, those Joy-Con, those knockoff Joy-Con made to remember Etika. You know, the famous Nintendo fan who died. You know what? I really hope something happens that changes all this stuff with Nintendo. Nintendo needs to be more tolerant with this stuff. And here's how I'm going to prevent this happening in PSBTP Edition. Here's how I'm going to prevent that from happening with PSBTP Edition. I will say, hey Nintendo, if you see this and you want to sue me, you know what I'd rather you do? I'd rather you try to hire me so this could be upstreamed and ported to the Switch. And be like, I would make the necessary changes to do that. Like, for example, make it so that instead of just generating the Pokemon based on settings you choose, it would have you choose an entry from your save file to base what it's like off of. Like, you know, Sword and Shield save file, or a Let's Go save file, or a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl save file. Those will probably be out by then. And also, it probably wouldn't be called PSVT Pig Animation with the Switch version. I don't think Nintendo would like a name like that. Because I told you guys what it stands for. Perfect Soft Banding Tool Pokemon Edition. I don't think Nintendo would like that name, so I'd probably make the Switch version of a different name as well. Like I said, that'd be cool. Me getting hired to work for Nintendo so it can be upstreamed. I mean, yeah. I'm sure I get paid more than I do now. Like, way more, actually. Because that would be a full-time job versus a minimum wage job. I mean, yeah. Then no more of, you know, animatronic being like, we remember a face like yours, you seem acquainted with those doors. That was a joke, having to Five Nights at Freddy's. I like to joke about Five Nights at Freddy's is my job, because of what my job is. I've mentioned it before. In fact, yesterday when I was at work, they had me put on the costume every time. That was like yesterday when I was at work. You know, that fursuit. Yeah, it's pretty much a fursuit. Okay then. I'm pretty sure I pressed B there, but whatever. Maybe I also accidentally pressed A, but whatever. Remember I showed you my Pro Controller is modified to have RGB lights? You know, it's not that hard of a modification to do. No soldering's required. I mean, it does require replacing the entire button daughter board, but no soldering's required. Like, basically there's this RGB light kit you can get from AliExpress. Despite being sold on AliExpress, you can actually get it shipped from the US. Which is nice. That's pretty rare with AliExpress products. Like, usually AliExpress products come from like China or some other country in Asia. Like, Amazon's the complete opposite though. It's rare to see an Amazon product coming from Asia. Usually they come from the US. I went to order, but I did want to order something on Amazon that shipped from Japan, so it took a while to come. It was this plush toy of Flareon. That's what I ordered on Amazon. That was shipping from Japan. I mean, it's a pretty cool plush toy, but it took a while to arrive. Like, I ordered that and a plush toy of Eevee on the same day. Took about a month for the Flareon one to arrive, but the Eevee one arrived in not even a week. That was before I bought Amazon Prime, by the way. Those are the first things I ordered on Amazon all by myself. And now eBay's like, I'd say in between for what countries use it. Like, it's not like almost exclusively Asia like AliExpress, but it's also not almost exclusively the US like Amazon. It's like in between. That's what I say about eBay. But yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, I want PSVT Big Edition to be upstream so that way I can't get sued for making it. Because I know otherwise Nintendo would sue me. Because, you know, Nintendo has actually done that before, but believe it or not. There's one Zelda game, I don't remember which one, that started as an unofficial fan game but then got upstreamed. Yes, that actually happened. I don't remember which Zelda game it was, but like I said, just Google it. And now I know I shouldn't be saying that because Because Google doesn't like you referring to using their search engine as Googling. Did you know that? It's a pretty little known fact that Google doesn't like you doing that. They'd probably say, refer to it as Google searching, not Googling. That's what they'd probably say. Like say, I Google searched it and he's right, not I Googled it and he's right. But like another cool thing about the RGB lights I have in my Pro Controller is that they can be configured in a pretty awesome way actually. Like I could even make it so that the analog sticks are a different color from the ABXY buttons. That's just one of the many things I could do. I mean, I like to have them at the like fade pattern because, you know, the fade pattern, it's like a gaming PC. It's my favorite kind of thing to do with RGB lights, have them fade. It looks like a gaming PC then. Like, I like the lights on a gaming PC, and that's why I like RGB lights, and that's why I modified this controller to have RGB lights. And this is why I don't like it. I share a car with my brother because, you know, my 16-year-old brother. I don't like that because, you know, that means he won't let me decorate the interior with RGB lights, because I know there are those interior car lights that are RGB. He won't let me decorate it like that, and yeah, I think that's annoying. That's why I don't like it that I share a car with him. I mean, my dad's car has RGB lights built into the interior because it's like a really expensive car. But like I said, I want to make my car look slightly nicer than it does right now by doing that, but my brother won't let me. My car, let me tell you, it's a used 2010 Ford Focus, so it's not that good of a car. I mean, it's in pretty good condition even though it's used. Like, there were only like a few cheap repairs that had to be done on it for it to be 100% safe to take long distances, but hey, it was just only a few and they were really cheap, so I guess, you know, it's pretty good for a first car. I mean, it's weird how you open the trunk on that car, though. Like, anyone who's ever owned a Ford Focus before would know. It's pretty weird how you open the trunk on a Ford Focus. But like, the Ford Focus doesn't have any buttons on the keys, like most cars do nowadays. But so the Ford Focus is a budget car. Of course, it doesn't have that. So like, the keys don't have buttons on them, and you know. So instead, we have to do to open the trunk. It's really weird. So first you have to unlock the door to the driver's seat, and then start the car obviously so the alarm doesn't go off. And there's like a button. And there's like a button right by that port used to program keys that every single car has. You know, like DRM feature on car keys that prevents a duplicated key from starting the engine. Like, pretty close to that port used to connect the programmer. Pretty close to it is, like, what was it? Trying to remember. Pretty close to that port is a button where you press the button and it unlocks the trunk and then you can just lift it up. It's really weird. Like I said, it's the only budget car I've ever owned, so I don't know if other budget cars are like that too, or if it's just a Ford Focus. I don't know. You wanna know what color my car is? It's blue, which I like. I like the color blue. It's my favorite color. Oh, nowadays it's mostly just because of the jokes I say about the Windows 10 background sound. You know, that's the sound Windows 10 makes. It gives you warnings, and also when you change the volume. That sound, I say it sounds like someone saying the word blue. It's a joke. Yeah, it's it. I mean, if you think about it, it does kind of sound like that. It actually does kind of sound like that. I was just imitating the sound. I mean, Windows 8's one also sounds a little bit like it, but who likes Windows 8? Let's be honest, who likes Windows 8? No one does. I mean, Windows 8 was the first one to have the same sound for warnings and changing the volume, because Windows 7, it was like called the ding sound, that was the one for changing the volume, and just the, I think it was the exclamation sound for warnings. You see, one of them was like, the other was like, woohoo! Sorry, I'm just kind of bad imitating the Windows 7 warning sound. It's kind of hard to imitate. Kind of hard for a human to imitate. You know, Windows 7 was pretty nostalgic to me, and that's why I miss it. I say that because that and Windows XP are two most nostalgic Windows versions to me. Because Windows 7, because my grandparents used to have a computer and Windows 7 that I played Flash games on all the time. It was a pretty slow computer, but, you know, it was a pretty slow computer, so Flash games didn't run that well, but still, I still played them regardless of how fast they ran. They ran about the speed they run on a Dell Chromebook 11. You know, a really weak Chromebook. I mean, most Chromebooks are really weak, but that one especially. You know, the one that has, I think it's Candy in its model number. So you know, Chromebooks have like model numbers with like some like code name in them, and you know, stuff like that. That's what Chromebook model numbers are like. Like the Acer C732 has astronaut in it, I remember. Yeah, I know it's because the high school I graduated from and the middle school I graduated from both gave Chromebooks to students. And what else? Oh yeah. So back to what I was saying, yeah, that computer is about as fast as a Dell Chromebook 11, even though it was a desktop computer. So it probably didn't come with Windows 7, it probably came with like Windows XP or something like that, it was updated. Maybe even Windows ME, like maybe it was 32-bit, I don't know. I never looked at the specs of it. But it definitely didn't have, there's no way it had 4 gigs of RAM. Well, actually, it might have. I don't know, because I know the Dell Chromebook 11 has 4 gigs of RAM, and it ran about the same speed as that. But I know RAM isn't the only factor in how fast the computer is. There are other things too. You know, every single Chromebook I've used has 4 gigs of RAM. I noticed that. It's weird. Every single Chromebook I've used has exactly 4 gigs of RAM. I think I can go over my time in this video again. Don't know how much over, but I am. Because I'm almost at the 30-minute mark, but I want to continue. Let's see what else. Oh yeah. So yeah, the other Windows version that's really nostalgic to me is Windows XP. The reason why, 2 reasons. One, when I was like really little, I this had to have been like when I was like younger than 5. Had to have been when I was like younger than 5, like 4 or even younger than that. Like I have a really good memory, so I remember doing this. Surprisingly, I actually remember doing this. Messing around on the lock screen of a computer I didn't know it was Windows XP at the time, but now I think back at it, I can definitely tell it was Windows XP. And I was messing around the lock screen, and I called the lock screen a game for whatever reason. Well, I was a little kid at the time, so it makes sense that I called the lock screen a game. But I called the lock screen a game for some reason. I said I was playing a game on the computer, but I was really just messing around on the lock screen. It's weird. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, the other reason Windows XP is nostalgic to me, remember that pinball game from Windows XP? Well, guess what? Guess what, my optometrist I visit, they used to have a computer that anyone could use. They got rid of it, but they used to have a computer anyone could use that ran Windows XP, and this computer had the pinball game because, you know, it was Windows XP. Windows XP has the pinball game. Do any of you viewers of this video know what I'm talking about when I say the Windows XP pinball game? Nice. But not nice anymore because, you know, I used one. It said 69, but now it's 68 that I have because I used one. But back to what I was saying. Any of you remember the pinball game from Windows XP? Because yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Fun fact about Windows XP, Nintendo used Windows XP for developing GameCube games, and so because of that, they actually made their own themes for Windows XP inspired by GameCube games they developed with it. Like a Super Mario Sunshine one, for example. They actually did make a Super Mario Sunshine Windows XP theme. And guess what? That actually is pretty cool to me because I actually grew up playing Super Mario Sunshine, which I'm sure I've mentioned before, but my nostalgia does not make me remember as the glitchy mess that it is, even though it's like one of the buggiest of all games in gaming history, probably. Well, buggiest of all games in gaming history, most likely because one, it was from when 3D was fairly new, and two, it's from the time period where games can only get updates by a revision to the disc. Like a new disc coming. Which I don't think any GameCube games did. I know some Wii games did, but I don't think any GameCube games did. Like, what was that game that had that? I think it was Super Paper Mario? Yeah, Super Paper Mario had the patched copies. Like, here's the easiest way you can tell whether you have a patched copy of Super Paper Mario or not. This one level, look how far away the pipe is from the wall. It should be farther away from the wall because there's a really stupid glitch you could do with that pipe being so close to the wall in the non-patched one. If it's farther away from the wall, you have the patched one. If it's closer to the wall, you have the unpatched one. Similar to with the Switch, XAW at 147 and some low number means it's unpatched. XAW147 and then XAW147 and then some high number or even the K instead of an A, or you know, a 9 instead of a 1, 7, or 4. And it's gonna be patched. Oh, and also if it's a J, it'll be patched. Because if it's a J, that means it's not even a regular Switch, it's a Switch Lite. Which those always have the Mariko processor in them because, you know, they were made after the regular Switch got Mariko. You know, Mariko sounds like something that I've heard is like a Spanish slang word that means gay. Sounds like maricón. Like, you know, if I know Spanish second best, that obviously means I know some Spanish profanity. Yeah. Like, obviously the Switch isn't gonna let you nickname your Pokemon Poya. The Spanish word for dick is what that is. Sorry, my brain's on dial-up. I had to check how many. I had to check. I mean, how many. I had to check if any eggs hatched. Because I forgot. Because my brain was on dial-up. Okay, now back to what I was saying. What else? What else does Mariko sound like? It also sounds a little bit, not as much as it does sound like the other word, but it sounds a little bit like burrito, which is funny because also something in Spanish, because it's, you know, a food you can get at Mexican restaurants. I mean, yes, it's not technically an authentic Mexican food, but you know, a lot of people treat it like one, so I'm just gonna say it like that. Well, at least it's not like... Well, at least it's not like stuff that Taco Bell would have. Because Taco Bell will have stuff like, you know, hard shell tacos with cheddar on them. That is not authentic at all. You know, I don't eat at Taco Bell because they don't really have anything that I can eat because I have allergies. But even if I could eat food from there, I wouldn't because I prefer authentic Mexican. So much that I once went to a Tex-Mex restaurant when I was in Texas, and I didn't like it as much as a normal one. But I live in an area with a lot of good Mexican restaurants. I live in... Okay, this might be giving away too much personal information. I mean, I said I live in a state with high minimum wage and has good Mexican food. So if you live in this state, you probably know which state I live in. If you also live in the state, you probably know which state I'm talking about. If you don't live in the state though, you might, and you also might not. Because, I mean, because it is a pretty well-known fact amongst people who live in this state that it has a high minimum wage and has good Mexican food. But I live in Illinois. That's where I live. I live in Illinois. And I think you can tell by the fact that I have that kind of personality that I have, that me being a big tech geek and stuff like that and all that stuff, that I am not in one of the many rural areas of Illinois. I am near Chicago. Like, Chicago's about an hour away from where I live. Now, I'm not gonna give the exact. I mean, there's a lot of suburbs like that, so I'm not gonna tell you which one I live in until I can actually trust you with that information. What I mean by until I can trust you with that information is like until I make that loose VTOL mod chip or whatever. Like, you know, that mod chip for a Switch that I call loose VTOL. Cause like my slogan for them is gonna be handcrafted with my soul's whisper of light and insert town I live in here. It's the loose VTOL mod chips. Yes, I already came up with that slogan. Handcrafted with my soul's whisper of light and insert town I live in here. It's the loose VTOL mod chips. You know, I have a whole workshop area in my basement. It's pretty messy though, where I do repairs on electronics and hard mods on electronics. Repairs, upgrades, hard mods, that's what I do down there. Sometimes it's messy, like insanely messy. I do them somewhere else though, like the kitchen table. But I never do soldering on the kitchen table. Like, I've never soldered on the kitchen table before because my dad doesn't want me doing that. And okay, but like, I think I was on the kitchen table when I modified this controller to have RGB lights. Yeah, I was. But that was cool when I modified this controller to have RGB lights. It was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. I mean, the analog sticks seem 3D printed, but still. They seem 3D printed and sanded, but still, it's cool. Like, these definitely seem to be made of, like, sanded polylactic acid. Do you know what polylactic acid is? It's more commonly referred to as PLA. It's, you know, what 3D printers commonly use. But I know because I actually own a 3D printer. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Although, yeah, I made a mistake though when I bought a 3D printer once and had to buy a second one. The mistake I made was I bought a Chinese knockoff. I didn't know it was a Chinese knockoff at the time, but it makes sense for the price of it. So yes, don't buy 3D printers made by Voxelab. Voxelab makes Chinese knockoffs. Voxelab, the Voxelab Aquila, however you pronounce it, is a knockoff of the Ender 3 V2. Get a real Ender 3 V2, not that knockoff. I mean, it's much cheaper than Ender 3 V2, but still don't get it. Only get the real Ender 3 V2. That's what I have now. I have the real Ender 3 V2. Which isn't like losing track of how hot the nozzle is and then just telling me to instantly turn it off right away or I'll burn down the house. What I mean by that is it's not having like thermal runaways like the other one was. The other one was having way too many thermal runaways and that's why I had to get rid of it because that made it dangerous. And the funny thing is I put it out on my curb with sticker on it that says does not work but could be fun to fix. Again, reference easily from r/programmer humor. I know I reference that subreddit a lot, but still. There's everything with this image of a record player that said that, and the caption was open source software be like. I mean, yeah, I remember when I was terrible at programming and I made software like that. It was just, I cringe looking back at that now. I just cringe looking back at that. When I was a noob at software development, I made software like that. When I say noob, I mean noob. Okay, so let me tell you something about that RGB light kit. So like I said, you have to replace all the buttons and the exteriors of the analog sticks, and also, what else do you have to replace? Actually, you don't have to replace the pair button. It's the one button you don't have to replace. Oh, actually, do you have to replace the home, capture, plus and minus buttons? I don't think so. But yeah, the rest of the buttons you have to replace, because the light has to shine through them. I mean, light can already shine through the exterior because the Pro Controller is a translucent exterior, but still. It's nice to have the buttons also be translucent. You also have to, and there's a couple of, there's just one last thing you have to replace, and it's the button daughter board. So if you take apart a Pro Controller, you'll see that there's like two circuit boards being like slices of bread and a ribbon cable being like meat, you know, like a sandwich. And that's how like the ribbon cable connects the two circuit boards. Like the one on the bottom is the motherboard, the one on the top is the button daughter board. So the button daughter board is what it sounds like. A daughter board with buttons in it. Like I said, you have to replace the entire button daughter board. You know, I thought about something with what I'm doing right now, with like Pokemon breeding. With like how Pokemon just have to share at least one egg group to be compatible. They just have to share at least one egg group to be compatible. So man, imagine what it would look like seeing certain combinations of Pokemon having sex. Just imagine what that would look like. So remember, earlier on my channel I did prove that all of them it is, you know, vaginal penetration like it is with mammals. Earlier on my channel I did prove that. And I'm sure like that was intentional, like I'm sure like, you know, people who make these games, like, you know, Junichi Masuda, Satoshi Tajiri, Kensu Mori, they agree. They would agree. What Kensu Mori says, we design all the Pokemon with that in mind. Like, one thing we think of when designing every Pokemon is how big is its dick. Unless if it's a female-only Pokemon. I'd not be surprised if he would say that. And also probably like what kind of dick does it have? Like, you know, Eevee having a canine penis. Or like, you know, Ekans having two of them due to being snake-like. Stuff like that, you get what I'm saying. I wonder if that's something to think about when designing every Pokemon's not female only. But, what was I saying? What's a weird combination of breeding that would sound, it's like, how would it work and like, what would it look like when they have sex? Oh, I know. Eevee and Mudsdale. Like, seriously. I'm just gonna say what it'd be like.
Ben, did you knock over the garbage?
Just stop making my videos cringy. Sorry, someone who hates me came down and tried to make my video cringy. Sorry, it's one of those my brain's on dial-up moments again because I had to look into the menu to check. Sorry, my brain was on dial-up there. Wait, let's see here. So yeah, what I was saying about how weird some of the breeding combinations are with like how they only have to share at least one egg group for them to be compatible. Imagine what that would be like with like Eevee and Mudsdale. Like, seriously. Mudsdale's much bigger than Eevee. Like, let's see here, what would that be like? So, let's just say the Eevee is the male there. The Eevee's gotta climb up there, I guess, to get to that Mudsdale's vagina. I know, it sounds weird. Gotta climb up there. But let's say it would be like the other way around. The Eevee being the female and the Mudsdale being the male. Here's what that would be like. That would be like this. Man, the Mudsdale better have like an abnormally large dick. You know, to reach down to where Eevee is. Like, seriously, this is just... Like, I'm sure that... It's gonna be just really strange, me getting it to work with PSVTP Gamma Edition. Like, I'm still having trouble deciding, like, how all this stuff is going to work. Like, that'd be really crazy, just how it would work. Why does my brain keep on connecting to dial-up connections? I want to connect to a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, or even Ethernet. And you would also be not a good idea to connect to with your brain. 3G. Like a hotspot that's on 3G. No, so let's see, what's one that would just be weird because... Oh, like, actually that one I said before is one that's weird because, like, the anatomy and stuff, like, you know... Like, you know, canine penis and the vagina a vagina that's meant for, like, a penis that's a horse-like one, and the other way around is like a horse dick and a vagina that's meant for a canine penis. Yeah, I know, it's weird, like it's like... Like, one of them, it's like there's a knot when there shouldn't be. The other, it's like there's no knot but there should be. Like, that must be weird. Like both those must feel weird because, you know... Like, knotting something that's horse-like, and also, you know, unable to knot something that is like a hybrid of mammals that mostly seems canine, I'd say. That's what I say about Eevee's design. Eevee's design is mostly canine, but looks like some hybrid of mammals. Yeah, mostly canine, because, you know, mostly looks like a fox, I'd say. There's at least one kind of fox known as a fennec fox. Apparently that's what most of Eevee's design comes from, fennec fox. Some of it comes from cats, rabbits, and dogs as well. And also, just certain Pokemon, it's like, what kind of dick would they have? Like, is it like So they seem like a hybrid of like two different animals that have drastically different genitals. Like, you know, think about Espeon, for example. Would Espeon have a feline penis or a canine penis? Like, would Espeon have a barbed penis or would Espeon have like a penis that has a knot? Which one would Espeon have? Or would Espeon have like a hybrid of both? Like, you know, both barbs and a knot? Which would seem weird, but still. And let's not even get started on Vaporeon. Like, seriously, Vaporeon is so weird. Like, what is Vaporeon supposed to be? Like, is Vaporeon supposed to be like a fish come out of the cat? Or is Vaporeon supposed to be, like, you know, think about like how, like how whales evolved from land mammals, and like Vaporeon's supposed to represent some stage in between. Like, which one is what Vaporeon is? That would really, like, does Vaporeon have a barbed penis like a cat? Does Vaporeon have like these things have like claspers like a shark? You know, claspers are like what sharks' penises are called. And like sharks have two of them. Does Vaporeon have the kind of penis that a dolphin or whale has? It's hard to say. And let's not even get started on Lucario. Lucario looks so canine in appearance, but is in the human-like egg group. So would Lucario have... So what would Lucario have? A penis that looks like one a dog has, or one a human has, or like somewhere in between. Like I said, the thing with Espeon might be somewhere in between feline and canine. I know, this all sounds really weird and makes me feel like R34s have a hard time. But I'm gonna have to decide all this stuff when I make PSVTP Gamma Edition, and I wonder if I have the same thought about this stuff that Nintendo, Game Freak, and, you know, the other companies have. Like, you know, Nintendo, Game Freak, Creatures Incorporated, and the Pokemon Company. Nintendo, Game Freak, Creatures Incorporated, Pokemon Company. Yeah, I said that right. I wonder if I have the same ideas they have with this stuff. I wonder if I have the same idea they do, or if it's drastically different. But one thing's for certain, they probably have the same thing I say, where they all have like genitals that are mammal-like, but the way how they give birth is not mammal-like. It is not mammal-like, except for the fact that it's coming out of a vagina, and not. I think it's pronounced cloaca. You know, that's what things that aren't mammals lay eggs out of. And mammals give birth out of a vagina, and, you know, I just say Pokemon are like, you know, in between that. Lay eggs out of a vagina. And it would also make sense of, like, here's one thing I don't think I mentioned in that video. It's another reason it makes sense for Pokemon to be like that. You know, the video I made that talks all about this stuff. One thing I don't think I mentioned in that video, it would just be a perfect way to balance it. Because, you know, think about it like this. It works well with Pokemon that are mammal-like in appearance. Also works well with Pokemon that are not mammal-like in appearance. Okay, I've made to the hour mark, so I think it's time to call it quits. This is Mel's best friend signing off.